This is how a manual transmission works. Now, since this is in the front of the transmission, you might think that's first gear. But in actuality, that is fourth gear. And this is third gear, and that's second gear, and that is first gear. Now, the way this thing works is it's got to use a counter shaft to take the power from here to get it to here. So fourth gear, the input shaft and the main shaft, which is the black part, are disconnected. So when I hold this shaft will turn independently. Now you see when I turn the input shaft, it'll turn all the gears, but not the output shaft, because we're still in neutral. Now to put this thing in gear, you just slide something up like that, and then now the output shaft will not turn independently from the input shaft. So if you want to put your car in first gear, this slider is going to lock the first gear to the shaft. It locks this first gear to this shaft with the hub. So when power comes in to this input shaft, it's going to go down to this gear and then over all the way to this gear and then come up and then out to the output shaft. So that's first gear power. Comes in, down, and around. When you switch to second gear, just like that, now this is no longer locked. Now we're locked over here to the second gear. And instead of power going up through the first gear, power now goes up through the second gear and out to the output shaft. And it works like that for every gear that you lock to the shaft, except for fourth and reverse. So in fourth gear gets locked to this hub, which makes this a 1-to-1 ratio from the engine all the way to the output shaft. And it does not even use the counter in fourth gear. So how does reverse work? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Reverse gear has a gear that rides on the main shaft. And then it has a counter gear as well that rides on the counter shaft. To achieve a backwards turn, it has an idler gear. And the way this works is power comes from the engine down through our counter shaft all the way over to our reverse counter gear. Then power goes from our reverse counter gear to our idler gear, which will turn this reverse gear backwards. Now to see this in action, we're going to put it in reverse by tapping it just like that. So when we turn the input shaft, you can see how that reverse counter shaft turns the idler, which turns the reverse gear backwards, and when it's locked to the output shaft, it spins a different way than the input shaft. And even though that seems pretty complex, that's one of the simplest things that turns engine RPM into miles per hour. Next time, I'll teach you about an automatic, but we're going to need a longer video. Stay dirty and subscribe.